do your art and maybe drink a little wine. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was like, I strongly, in any creative, whether you are going to be, or you're just doing it by yourself, where you go and rent a house and you lift yourself out of your day-to-day stuff and you just paint in that house. Do it. Absolutely do it. I just did it for myself because I was supposed to be in the Bahamas this past July, but because of COVID, I couldn't go. And it's been deferred. I'm like, hopefully I get to go, in next July, assuming that the world opens back up. And so I decided, well, why do I need to wait for someone to give me permission to do this? Like, why do I have to wait? And so I decided August was going to be August in residence. And so I spent the month of August only doing my artwork. I didn't teach any classes. I didn't work any jobs. I literally just did my artwork. And it was delightful. I may have to do it every year.
It's like an art cleanse.
Yeah, it really is. It basically is. And so, so my biggest recommendation is, don't wait for somebody to bless you. Do your thing. Like, because I think that so many of us wait around and sometimes it's going to be a long wait. And so if you're not out there, making it happen for yourself. And so whether, if it's literally just like I just was at my house doing my painting, and it's like building assemblages and thinking up projects for the future and what classes do I want to teach and occasionally doing like a podcast interview, but it was wonderful.
Voulez-vous? Very avant-garde.
Yes.
Well, you just mentioned something I'm very familiar with, and I know you do it too. Podcasting.
Yes, podcasting.
And yours is called Purifier Creatives.
Yes, Purifier Creative.
And how did you come up with the idea that, I want to do a podcast?
Well, in all honesty, like I'd been toying with it for a while, and then I did this. Actually, that's Sam. That's how I met Sam. Is Kathy Heller, and so I did this retreat with Kathy Heller and Sam. And then I did a Made to Do This program.
Oh, wow.
And so I was like, okay, all right, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to get out there and I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about. And I'm going to interview who I want to interview. And so for me, what I'm trying to focus on is women creatives. And so what really sparked it was like, it's always kind of been rolling around in my head, but I was talking to my little sister about, because we were talking about like salary negotiations and things like that. And my little sister's 20 years younger than me. So there's a little gap. And she goes, well, at least you don't have to worry about it. It's pretty equal, for men and women in the arts. And I was like, oh, no, it's not. And so I think it just became really clear that if she who knows me, wasn't aware that there's a disparity in pay and opportunities in the arts for women and men, like the women have to fight twice as hard for half the pay. I kind of owe it to try to lift some women up, and I'm not doing it as like throwing a stone at anything. I think it's just something that's been overlooked. And so my goal is to give women artists an opportunity to tell about what they do and why they do it. And I call it creatives because I have people on there who are artists, chefs. I've had people who are coaches for creatives. So what I really want to do is lift those women up. And if somebody needs like a sound bite for their website, great. I'm going to put up a podcast for you. And so you'll have that, so that'll help you build your resume. Because everything, the thing that's very similar, I think, in the art world that is no different than the corporate world is you have to build your resume. And so that is what I try to do, is I try to help people get opportunities to build that.
Mm-hmm. How do you find your guests?
How do I find my guests? Some of them I know. Sometimes I get referred. Mm-hmm. There are a couple of people that I might invite on just because I like what they're doing. Mm-hmm. So I haven't had to do any cold calls yet because I have I literally just started writing down a list of all the people that I know. And so I haven't had to deviate too much from that. But I have gotten introductions to other creatives, especially in, I'll say, the coaching world, because I want to make sure that people know that the other creatives know that there are resources that are available to help them improve their business and grow their business.
You did mention coaching.
Yes.
Is it creativity coaching? Or is it life?
Yeah, so I tend to do, I actually have a certificate in leadership coaching from Georgetown University. And so I know the value of a coach. I think really, really important to have a coach. And so I do some creativity coaching for people. The people I have on my podcast, so, I'd be more than happy to have other creative coaches on there. The ones that I've tended to have on there are more of strategic creative coaches. And so they're very business focused. But I think that there's a real value in having someone outside of yourself kind of hold you accountable. Say like, because sometimes you'll say you want to do something, and if you're left to your own devices, you may not actually do it.
Yeah.
But if you have,
I'll get to it later.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's very easy to scuttle it off to the side.
Yeah. Well, it's time to go to bed. Oh well. Now I feel terrible.
Right. But if you know that you have a call with a coach who's going to hold you accountable, it's sort of like doing your homework for a teacher.
Yeah. Understandable. Yeah, I think I need one of those myself. I've been trying a little method where I'll time myself. So I say for 30 minutes, I'm going to write like my script, a script or something. And I'm like, okay, I start the timer. I'm like, okay, I'm writing. I'm like, ooh, stuff is coming out here. Oh, wow. I'm looking at the timer like, oh.
Have you tried morning page?
It's been a while, but yes, I have done the morning pages. I haven't. It's hard with the day job.
Yeah, what I discovered, I was doing mine wrong, in the sense of like, I thought when they said 3 pages, I had to do it front and back, but apparently literally just like 1 full page front and back, and then the front of the next page, or wherever you land. And I was like, oh, and so that's a much more approachable, because it was taking me like an hour.
Yeah, oh my goodness. Yeah.
But yeah, I think anything that you can do to, like I found putting it on my calendar is incredibly helpful. So a lot of times, like, and especially if I write it, so you have to find a system that works for you. You know, because everybody has something that works for them, and what works for you may not be what works for me. You know, and like sticky notes are great for me. Like if I put like I'm working on a project and I feel like, oh, you want to do X, Y, and Z? It's like, oh, yes, I do. You know, and then I don't have to rethink it. So I basically try to, the night before I leave my studio, I try to have my plan for the next day. And then that way I don't have to come in and go, oh, what was it that I was thinking about?
Good technique.
Mm-hmm. And I will tell you that that's part of the reason I decided to do the artists in residence at the community center, was I wanted to see how other creatives worked. And so I wanted to be who were doing work. And so, you know, when I got there, I was like, oh, isn't that interesting? Nobody has a sofa in here. Huh. You know, it's like, oh, look, they're in here and they're working. They're not, you know. And so I think it was very good for me. I'm always trying to find people who are examples of what I want to model, you know. And so, so they were very good to see, you know, how they approach their daily practices.
Learn from one another.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Is there one medium you lean towards more?
Yes, there is. I love doing assemblage. And so I'm a lifelong collector of vintage objects and broken things. And so I love putting together assemblage. Like for me, assemblage is like trying to put together a puzzle without having the picture on the cover of the box. And so I, you know, I'll find myself talking to myself and be like, oh yes, that's it. And so I will completely lose track of time. And because it's just like, you know, Rube Goldberg?
No.
Okay. Rube Goldberg is an old thing. It's an old thing. And it's basically become sort of a moniker for a highly complicated machine for a simple task. And so, like, think the game Mousetrap, and how that the marble goes and knocks over the dominoes, and then, you know, and then it flips the frying pan and you've made an egg. And so that's kind of the thing. And so it's kind of fun for me because it feeds everything. Like it feeds my need to tinker. It feeds the need to discover, like, so how do I make this work? Like, how do I put this together? Like, I just recently finished one. I keep looking over here because it's over there. And you know, I lined this old drawer with like this beautiful green velvet, and then I had an old half of a drawer that I took and made little slots so that I have these little glass bottles that have little symbolic things in them. But to put it all together, you know, I had to figure out what was the best way to secure it. And so I tested a few things and ended up I had these small little dowels that I had pilfered from somewhere. And so it's just great fun. It's just, and it's weird because it's like, I don't think of myself as a particularly elegant person. And whenever I look at these things, I'm like, how elegant